I'm Dr. Ali. I'm from Gaza. I'm an emergency doctor who has worked in the emergency department at Al-Aqsa Hospital since the beginning of the genocide. And I also worked in 2 other hospitals during displacement. One of these hospitals was completely destroyed and is now under occupation. I have worked and lived in conditions no human being could ever imagine. The healthcare system, the medical staff, and the hospitals themselves were direct targets of the occupation in an attempt to prevent families from remaining in their homes and neighborhoods. Most hospitals across the camps of the Gaza Strip from north to south were destroyed. More than 1,400 medical personnel were killed, including the only orthopedic surgeon in the northern Gaza Strip, my uncle, Dr. Said Shuda, who was shot in the head by a sniper while inside an ambulance on his way to the hospital. Colleagues I knew personally were also killed, and many others were detained, some of whom I also knew closely. Today, a few of the targeted hospitals operate from beneath rubble, between burned walls and riddled with bullet holes and shell impacts. The already collapsing health system has been and continues to be a central target in this genocidal war, a primary tool used to deepen suffering and strip people of their humanity, even the weakest and most vulnerable among them. And on a personal level, and through endless struggles against this injustice, suffering, and oppression, I have lived experiences that can neither be forgiven nor forgotten. I have seen children carried into the emergency room with their organs outside their bodies, mothers torn apart, and innocent people burned and dismembered, arriving by thousands in a single moment. The simple ability to ease their pain was often a bitter dream, a purely human goal that many times never saw the light. I saw patients deteriorate further simply because they were deprived of their medications and even the minimum level of medical care. And countless times, I stood powerless before patients who desperately needed oxygen to survive, and I had none to give. Obtaining even the bare minimum of medical supplies was considered a miracle. The occupation did not allow any medical supplies to enter throughout the genocide, and continues to block them to this very moment. The occupation surrounds Gaza from all directions, trapping countless critically injured people and patients who urgently need to travel for treatment abroad, while people literally die waiting for any change that might save their lives. The occupation also prevents volunteer doctors from outside Gaza from entering, and now even stops them from bringing the simplest medical tools. Dr. Ian told me that they did not allow him to bring even his stethoscope. The occupation continues to obstruct the arrival of highly skilled doctors whose expertise is crucial for saving lives here, simply because they expose its crimes and propaganda. How is it possible that doctors who travel thousands of miles risking their life to save someone here is punished and threatened? How is it possible that those who simply stood against the machinery of genocide are accused of terrorism, imprisoned, and some left to starve to death in British prisons? Let me walk you through the outcome of the Peace Council that was created a few weeks ago for Gaza and its inhabitants. In my last shift, we faced a severe shortage of doctors. 18 hours into my shift, I found myself dealing with many patients alone, all at the same moment. Most of them had critical issues, and delayed care for even minutes could have cost them their lives. Their families kept asking for reassurance and next steps again and again, and it was almost impossible to answer everyone at once when I was myself exhausted and stressed, perhaps more than anyone around me. You feel the overwhelming responsibility to give each one of your patients even every bit of attention you can, to make every patient and every relative feel safe. But you simply cannot. You might manage it for once, but eventually the ability slips away and you feel your mind collapsing in front of your patient's beds, unable to think, unable to recall or do the things that you would normally knew or do with clarity. You keep going because you must, but you cannot face on every detail. You cannot focus when you are handling so much at once. You try your best, but you cannot grasp everything. And in the end, you are reminded that you are just human, not a machine. You become tired, unable to think clearly or focus enough to make the best decisions for everyone. This leaves you feeling defeated, overwhelmed, and trapped in the dilemma. Experiencing this is not just overwhelming, it's heartbreaking and it's dehumanizing for both me and my patients. To deal with human lives while having so little, almost nothing to save them or ease their suffering is one of the most dehumanizing weapons ever used against us.